Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. This is a show that reviews everything from Red Scorpion to Dolph Lundgren to the latest, greatest, craptastic Louis Gossett Jr. movie. I'm Jonathan Charney. He's James Stevens. And this week we guest appearance by Robert Charney. This week we review the movie Prometheus, made in 2012 by Ridley Scott, and I bring you some of my favorite movie news of the week. And do you want to start or should I?
I can start it. This is a movie, Prometheus, as John just said. It's got Ridley Scott in it, Guy Pearce, Charlize Theron. It's 124 minutes is what they say. It doesn't really, it kind of feels like it's a 2-hour movie, but not like in a bad way. So far, what I've noticed is it's got a 7.7 rating on IMDb. That is really low for this movie, actually. I think it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be higher. The thing I really liked about this movie was the pacing. I think the pacing was on par with the original Alien movie.
Okay, yeah.
I think the problem a lot of people have with it is they're not used to a movie that has a slow pacing, because this is a pacing movie that doesn't really have the big payoff like some of them do.
This movie is coming off of the back of the AVP that is out there, Aliens versus Predator. That was a horrible try to be continuation of the Alien series. I think
never saw it. I guess I was lucky, huh?
Yeah, you were lucky.
I was lucky. Never saw it.
You haven't missed much. I will say, to kind of cut James off a bit, according to, from what I've heard, AVP 1 and 2 are not in the canon of the Aliens universe.
Yes, that is true.
Which is kind of a bummer to me, because it's a rich story history that you can add to the universe.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. I thought that the way that they kind of said that they were hunting the aliens because it was such a hard and challenging creature to hunt, that's why the predators were hunting them.
Yeah. I
thought that was kind of a cool thing. They totally took that and threw it in the garbage disposal, ground it up, and tried to feed it to people. But I thought that was kind of cool. But if that's what people are expecting this movie to be, you're gonna be disappointed. If you want a good, rich story of the Alien, I can't even say trilogy on this now.
Would you a prequel?
No, I would say this is.
Oh no, I don't think it'd be a prequel. It takes place after.
No, before.
No, you think this takes place before?
Yeah, it takes place before.
Takes place before. I looked it up. The Alien movie takes place in 2122, and this one takes place in 2093.
Would you call it?
It's a little
this
over
was the
30...
introduction of the Alien.
Would it be a sister story then? If it can't be a direct prequel,
be the kind of the legacy of the Alien.
Okay,
I would say this is legacy because it's as long as you throw away AVP and those types of storylines that stick with just Aliens, and Alien 2, and then 3
and 4.
If you stick with those types of storylines, this movie would fit in. As far as the continuity, I actually liked the continuity. That really was enjoyable to me.
You mean as far as how it fit with the original?
No, the way that the ships look. He stuck with that story. Even the inside of the Prometheus, the actual ship, the way that they had the doors opening, the way that the paneling looked, it was very reminiscent of the 1979 Alien movie. That was very impressive to me that he stuck with that, because, like I said, is that the actual movie Alien takes place 31 years after this ship encountered the alien.
Yeah. At a completely different planet.
Well, I thought the ship was stereotypical of all spaceships that you've seen throughout the years.
Not
it's very
really. This is very distinct. Very distinct in the paneling, the way the doors are.
This one was
the thickness.
It's more windows. Industrial looking than some of the other spaceships you get. Some of the other ones are a little more sleeker. Some of them are boxier. This combines a couple of elements, I thought.
If you take it in the kind
of exterior view, interior view, I thought very
the interior was very similar to the way that he did it in the first Alien, and then a little bit into the 2001 ship, but not really into the Star Trek or Star Wars or Serenity, any of those other ships over the newer years. They've developed, they've changed. They've got elevators that you see instead of paneling, and it's a little bit more user friendly of if we developed it. Do you see what I'm saying? Instead of like having some alien technology
but
come
to me
in.
it's still the same. You press the button, doors slide open, slide close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I understand that, but
it's still the same engineering part as far as
the engineering is very similar to everything else, but what I was talking about is the aesthetic look.
I will say I like that the difference between the two, if you compare Prometheus to the original movie Alien, is the difference in the two. Prometheus was a really high-end ship, had everything you ever wanted in it. And you take the original movie Alien, the Nostromo was a mining vessel?
Yes.
It was a mining vessel, kind of run down. So you got the run down, dirty look. Overall, I like the two mixtures of the two.
Yeah,
just the way the ship looks, the way it sounds, it's completely different.
I was also pleased with the fact that he kept the kind of weird rhinoceros alien
the helmet
suits. Yeah, that he stuck with that the aliens were in.
Right.
Well, here's the thing I was thinking of, because I had the same moment when she made the comments like, well, this is a helmet. I always thought that was the actual skull.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I kind of thought it was cool that they actually showed in this one that it was a helmet when they actually x-rayed and everything, because as you just said, the mining ship that Weaver was on, Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
What was her name in that movie? Alien. Anyway, I can't remember. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
We're talking about a different movie.
Right.
But they didn't have that equipment to scan the helmet, and they didn't drag it back, and he was still sitting on the actual driver's seat type
chair
thing. In the chair that controlled the whole ship. And he was busted open, unlike this alien, which wasn't. That continuity was very cool. The suits, the way they looked.
Even the way they did the ribcage looking thing, too. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they did it very similar to...
You know, the one thing I didn't understand, and maybe I don't fall back far enough in these, the opening scene where the humanoid alien drinks a substance, he opens it up, drinks a substance, and basically everything's being dissolved all the way down to the DNA level. What was that about?
Well, here's
that what's in those canister things?
Well, no, this is something else.
Yeah, here's my interpretation of what happened. Is that the things the canisters are completely different. I think what happened for some reason he drank something that unraveled his DNA to seed the planet. Like, because that's what I got. Because if you actually watch the scene, his DNA rips apart, then starts assembling together to a cell.
And it reassembles.
So I'm assuming that whatever life was there, whether it's prehistoric snot, it had combined with his DNA and it started to change into humans.
So that's a way of terraforming it somehow with.
Yeah, are you saying that he terraformed us?
Yeah.
Is that kind of where the storyline?
I'm assuming he seeded life.
Huh. That's actually a good point, because I was thinking he was committing suicide.
Well, wait,
yeah,
he was.
But see, no, I don't think so. I don't think suicide at all. He was definitely doing something. There was a plan for this.
Yeah, but there was a ship that was going like this, and then it looked like it was landing. That's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah,
I guess that's something that Scott just left open for everybody to interpret.
We can interpret it.
Yeah, interpret it the way that we want.
Yeah, because I always assumed it was seeding it.
Because there was a couple things in there that one of them looked like it was like he was almost standing on Niagara Falls.
Right.
A really, really early Niagara Falls, because if you know anything about Niagara Falls...
That might have been Earth, is what you're saying.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it eats back, and I mean, Niagara Falls is almost in Canada now, and when it was in the United States.
Yeah, no, I am
and
assuming...
that's just over the part that...
Yeah.
That's over the period that we've been...
I didn't even think about that being Earth.
Because I always assumed it was Earth, because if you go later...
No, you're right.
If you go later on, it has later on in the same, a little bit forward in time, it has the same look and feel as the waterfall area.
I totally missed that, but I think you're right. I think it was
Well,
Earth.
that was... like I'm saying, that's an interpretation part of the movie. That was a little bit weird. You brought up something that I was going to mention, too, is this movie... I was reading somebody in a critic that says that this explains all the mysteries of Alien. I don't think it does. I think this one raises even more questions.
Right.
Well, I think it answers the questions of
where
they came from, where the xenomorphs from. But besides that, it leaves everything open.
Well, the other thing that I was very curious about is that, the size of these aliens... not the ones that...
The engineers.
The engineers, thank you.
Right.
So
the size of them, the skin color, the breathing of the atmosphere, how can their DNA, their base DNA, that they pulled out of that alien, because you just mentioned that drink that he drank disassembled his DNA and then spread it throughout the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
How can that DNA from a direct source of that alien be exactly the same as ours?
Yeah, it said exact match, right?
It was an exact match. When they showed it, it lined up perfectly. Right. How did that work? Shouldn't there be an addition to it? Shouldn't there be a subtraction to it? That's why that multi-millionaire man went there to find a cure. That should have been in their DNA. Why wasn't it there?
Yeah, see, that's a part I'll agree with you with. There should be some. It shouldn't be 100% match, or
exactly.
It didn't give a percentage.
Be similar enough to where we could be similar enough to like the apes.
Yeah,
because we have very similar DNA to the apes, but we don't have it perfect.
Right.
No, I agree. That is something I thought was kind of a failing.
Yeah. Now the other point that was a little bit curious to me is, what is this toxic goo that's in there? The toxic goo that was inside those canisters, was that the alien DNA of the actual creature aliens? Or is this just a certain amount of DNA that's enough to corrupt the DNA of a host? Because what I pointed out to him, because I was reading another critic thing, and he said the monster sequences were just to spook and continue on the storyline instead of it being too talky. We brought up the point about those snake creatures. Mm-hmm. And that toxic goo is what corrupted the worms that were in the ground.
Okay.
And turned them into those snake creatures.
Okay.
That attack.
I see.
Well, so that's kind of where I'm like...
Another one I didn't tie together. Oh, okay.
Well, here's the thought. Is if you remember the scene when he's looking in the mirror and he's seeing the little snake creature in his eyes?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that those things were there already in their thing somehow.
Well, I mean,
or
David guy looked at his finger and they zoom up in it, but they didn't really show what exactly it was.
Or what it is, or the material, the information is there. That when it gets put into the body, that information, the DNA or whatever, starts using the host material to make whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. So, you think the actual creation of the actual alien creatures was a mix of combined DNA? Because when she pulled that thing out of her body, it didn't look like the normal alien creature that was the face sucker thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It grew really big, and that's maybe where they got the mother creature from, is because it was in her womb.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of questions here.
It does, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot more questions here that arise. So, that was another thing that was kind of a little bit interesting for me. And was it me, or did you guys catch that David touched the bottle before he put his finger into the glass?
Yeah.
He was holding his finger straight on everything, and then he touches the bottle, and then he wipes it in the glass. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, he just wiped it on the bottle. What did he have left? But,
I thought that was that was the one that was clever, because if you notice the hole in that whole scene, he had his finger.
Except for at the last second, he goes like this to the bottle, and I think he was supposed to keep his finger straight. I think it was a screw up.
Yeah. But if you watch it, his finger was out the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when
it's
it came to
thing, though. You have to look. We would have to look at that scene.
No, he actually stuck his finger and made a point of it as he was handing.
Well, yes, I know as far as that goes. But you said that he touched the bottle prior.
Yeah.
But he kept the finger. He touched the bottle, but he kept the finger like this away from it.
Yeah,
really?
See, that's what I mean. We'd have to look at it.
I caught it because I was making a big point about that. I was watching his finger, and during that whole scene, I'm like, oh, he's going to keep his finger straight. And then right after he pours the drink, he's got his finger like this, and he goes like this, and he messed up and put his whole hand on the bottle.
All right.
I caught it. I know he did.
Instant replay.
Anyway,
we don't have that yet. We got to get instant replay.
As far as that being, I think the movie was really great. I think we should get to the point of what we actually think about the whole movie. We've kind of discussed a lot of the things that come up with it, but I like the acting. I don't think this was a movie where the acting and the character development was bypassed or messed up. I think Guy Pearce's role and character in this movie was lackluster in the fact that he wasn't in it long enough for a 2-hour movie. I think his role was short for somebody being billed as a good actor.
But I will say though, for what the character was, he didn't need a lot of time because they introduced him as this crotchety. They introduced him as this guy who's dying, and that gives you enough backstory where you can kind of fill it on you. They can fill it along as you go.
Yeah,
because the character. I think that the one character that I wish had a little more development was the main character. What was it, Elizabeth Shaw? I think that was the one character. Everybody else I thought had a really good building. Her, for some reason, I still felt was a little empty.
I think that she had enough. I actually liked the way they did her because it was kind of like she was a prequel to Sigourney.
Ripley.
Yeah, Ripley. And the fact that, I mean, she was educated, well put together. She had the will to fight. She didn't have it initially. She developed it as she went along, got tougher and tougher. I like that. I thought that was well done. Michael Fassbender, David, the android.
Mm-hmm.
I am really starting to like him. I liked him in Inglourious Bastards. He was the British officer in Inglourious Bastards. He's had a lot of different roles over the years. I mean, he's still a young actor.
Yeah.
You can probably pull up in there and tell me how old he is.
For some of the movies he's been in,
he's underrated.
Yeah, I mean, he was X-Men First Class. He
Yes,
played
he
Magneto.
Oh.
Jane Eyre, Pitch Black Heist, Jonah Hex, which is a horrible movie to have your name on. Personally,
Yeah, like I said, he's just an underrated actor.
1977 is his birthday.
Oh, he's still a fairly young guy.
Yeah.
He's 34?
Yeah.
Okay.
About that.
Anyway, I'm really starting to like him. He's got a lot of potential in front of him. And I like the way he played David. It was actually really well done. He played a pretty good android.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious though to see if he used any of the original android character in the Alien movie for kind of his characteristic, because I thought he played a really good evil. I thought the character he played was really, really well done. I actually thought, as far as character goes, he was one of the best laid out.
Okay,
but he's also given the most amount of time to build.
Yeah, he is. So, but I liked him. I think that was really good.
He really did an amazing job, I thought.
The other point of this I was going to bring up as far as where my rating basis is the fact that I really enjoyed the continuity. I think Ridley Scott really put some effort into doing that. Couple points is the fact that when the android was ripped apart, it was very similar to the 79 android being ripped apart.
Thankfully, less cottage cheese flying.
A lot less cottage cheese blood in there, but he was also hacked apart a little bit more quickly.
True.
And the ship, the design, layout, things like that were really cool. I think the cargo hold in this one was a lot smaller than the other one.
As far as the human ship?
No, the alien ship, the actual shape of that horseshoe thing.
Yeah,
because you didn't have to let somebody down on a zip line to get into it, but they also did walk through the door.
Yeah, well, there was. That depends. I remember the cargo hold where they dropped when they found the eggs in the original one. They had to drop somebody in a drop line to get down there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they walked through a door in this one.
Yeah,
outside of the other one. So
what's your rating? What do you give it?
Well, I was gonna say is the fact that I would like to see more of this storyline continue. That's a good point. I
want another one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on it too.
Do you think there'll be another?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping Ridley keeps up with it. This is something
so.
he's really good at. We've mentioned this before about Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott's sci-fi is actually really good, minus Blade Runner. But
so what? I see. I love Blade Runner.
See, I'm not a Blade Runner fan.
No, so what's your score? I want to know.
4.
So 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
I know.
Well, that's the first 4 you've given. Unlike Ryan, who seems to hand them out.
I know,
like
hand
candy.
them out like candy. Here, little Girl Scout. Here's a 4. Can I have a box of cookies?
Oh, poor child if he's getting money from Ryan. I agree with James. I love the movie. I think the thing I liked about it most is the pacing. It was a slow pace. It was really kind of a slow burn of a movie. I think it was very self-aware in the character-wise.
Yeah, I think, I liked it. I understand where some people come off saying the character development was a little lackluster on some characters. I would say on some characters, but they're not the main characters. They're side characters such as, technicians and things like that. You don't really need to know everything about everybody.
Yeah.
If you do that, you're going to have an 8-hour movie.
Yeah.
I have to admit, even though, I wish there was more build-up on certain characters, I think the main characters, for some reason, aren't as much built up. But what I'm thinking is they're giving you enough information for the next one, so they can build her more and more. Because Ripley was really not a very well-introduced character in the first one either.
No, she wasn't.
You didn't love or hate Ripley, I think, until later on in the second one, where you got to really see her strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
The thing I like is about they kept the same style of the ship. unlike unlike some of the other movies for the alien ship.
Yeah.
Not a lot of movies do that, I think. So the fact they kept that and the continuity between the human ship, I like. Overall, I give this a 3 out of 5. I like the movie. I like
below me.
Yes.
Below me for once.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, here's the thing. I had a chance to see this twice because I really wanted to see it. So I got to see a few things for me that I thought were little weaknesses that helped me see, okay, which character I liked better and this and that. I also think it might have hampered me a little bit seeing it twice in the matter of 2 days. Personally, I think it might have.
Choice.
But yeah. But overall, I like the movie. 3 out of 5 for me.
Okay. Good.
So what about yourself?
Well, there was a few things that I've been thinking about in the movie. One of the things on character development, the guy that played the captain of the ship.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more of him.
He didn't come across to me as a real captain of a ship. He was, the crew was so laid back, it was almost too laid back, in my opinion. So I don't think the gentleman who played the captain did a particularly good job. It was okay.
He was just trying to get laid.
Yeah, well, And again,
it's Charlize Theron.
They somehow they have to throw that in where it doesn't fit. Okay, so every movie seems to have the sex scene in it because they just do, and I thought it was unnecessary. But anyway, I don't feel his development was very good. I don't feel the other crew members fit in at all. You didn't know which one was which. Is he engineer? What is he? And then, so I had some problems with that.
I was going to say, you really didn't get to know the captain until the very end. But you really got to see the metal of his character.
You got to see him a little bit more at the end there. And, of course, the whole idea that all these people are part of the ship, they didn't know that there was these secret compartments, like the old guy, whatever his name was, I don't know. All of a sudden, he was in the ship. Well, nobody in the in the crew knew. So what? They had an extra part on the ship that nobody knew about. Some of that was hokey to me, but that was just part of the plot situation, I guess.
The other thought, now that I think about it, was the flamethrowers. I just thought about this. You think because they had flamethrowers in there that looked like they were supposed to help remove bacteria or something that picked up, and apparently in the future they don't have some sort of way other than lighting stuff on fire.
Yeah, and also, if you want to really get picky about the flamethrowers,
the atmosphere is different.
Well, yeah, you got that problem. You didn't have enough oxygen because they had to wear helmets, so it's not going to burn as well. And then to really destroy stuff, it's got to reach a certain temperature, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't know what it is, but certainly more than what they were producing with those flamethrowers. So I thought that was crappy on that part. And then on some of the other, the lady that was playing the other doctor, her part was just terrible. She was kind of there. I don't know. I didn't really like the movie.
She was really missing.
There was a lot of character development that I didn't like. I thought they could have done a better job. My opinion, but what do I know? I'm not a movie critic like you guys are. So, you want to know what I'm going to give it? I agree with John. I'm going to give it a 3. And you got to understand my position on these. I go to movies just for entertainment. Now, if you were asking me on pure entertainment value, it gets a 5 because it was just entertaining. I enjoyed it. If I want to get nitpicky about it, then it's a 3. So it depends on which way you're looking at it.
That's good. So James gives it a 4, and I and Rob give it a 3.
Yeah.
And so like I promised, this is the delivery of some of the movie news. One of the movie news is it looks like the next Ninja Turtle movie is on hold, thank God. And if you don't know anything about this one I think was supposed to be directed by Michael Bay. This is the one where the instead of being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle aliens.
Okay, now I'm a little disappointed that this movie's on hold. I was actually looking forward to seeing this one because of the fact that, if he just changed the title, I would be okay with him making it. If he's wanting it to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he already messed up. But I do want to see it because I want to see what they're going to do with this one. Because I remember the old ones, and I was always disappointed with the way they did the turtles.
The first one, I thought if you actually see the first one, I thought the first one was the best made. Like the turtle costumes looked real.
No, they didn't.
They looked a lot better than the second and third one, I thought.
Okay, I'll give you that, but they didn't look real. They didn't even look close to real.
Well, they're 6-foot turtles. Realistically.
Realistically, don't do a live-action Ninja Turtles movie if you can't make it right.
True.
That's my thing. So we finally have the technology to do something like this and make it look decent. I want to see it. Now, yeah, you're screwing it up and making it into aliens, whatever. But really, some radioactive sludge gets down a drain and turns them into turtles. That's basically what the whole premise and storyline.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see it. I'm a little disappointed to hear that it's on hold.
Yeah, I mean, I love Teenage Mutant
I do
Ninja
too.
Turtles.
That's why I'm going to see it.
That's because you guys
excited.
grew up with them. I see one more turtle, I'm going to slit my own throat.
My
care less about.
My only thing is I hope Ernie Reyes Jr. is in it, because I'm kind of a fan of his. He was in the second one. He was the pizza delivery guy. He was also apparently one of the Ninja Turtles, I've heard. Oh boy.
Really?
Yeah. Another one I heard is, this is from a couple of weeks ago, the G.I. Joe movie with The Rock got rescheduled for reshooting.
Reshooting?
Apparently the movie...
Didn't they have it already done and it was going to be released?
Apparently the movie was so bad, it didn't react well to testing, that they're actually reshooting scenes because apparently how bad it was.
Wait, I mean, if it's so bad that you have to reshoot the movie, spend more money to do the movie, shouldn't it just get dumped?
When at this point they've spent so much money on it, yeah. But
they built. I mean, that's where all John Cena's movies end up.
Yeah, it could be like another Wind Talkers, because I swear I remember seeing Wind Talker posters like 20 years before it came out.
Huh.
I
don't know. Well, that one's not. I'm not disappointed about.
Yeah.
So you're talking about movies that you're excited to see? I want to see Men in Black.
You want to see Men in Black 3?
Yep. I want to see Men in Black 3. I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually looking forward to the next James Bond movie, too.
Skyfall.
Okay. Skyfall, that's good.
I enjoyed the first Men in Black.
Yeah.
I did. I enjoyed that one. The second one was just unspeakably horrible in comparison to the first one. In comparison.
Oh, yes.
Unspeakably horrible. And, I mean...
But... it goes back to my scale of entertaining, and it was.
Number
2
was entertaining?
It was entertaining.
For you?
Oh yeah, just because it's so crazy. I mean, it was the interaction with the aliens was just pure crazy.
Well,
and it was entertaining.
Here's my concern as far as the third one is generally, and far as I've been watching movies, anytime it goes back in time, it's generally awful. If you don't believe me, look at Ninja Turtles 3. That was a horrible movie, entertaining as hell. Bad movie.
Back to the Future.
That's different because that's the whole premise of it. That's the whole premise of the entire series.
But you said if it goes back in time, it's a horrible movie. I just had to throw
But that started going back in time. That didn't start as something else, then go back in time.
All right. But I mean, the Marty McFly in the Old West. Come on, really?
No, I agree completely.
Okay. Anyway, that's actually one of my favorite guilty ones. Is that one?
And the last one is apparently what's his name? Bill Murray apparently says he's been dragging his feet on Ghostbusters 3.
Okay.
Some of the reviews is saying that nobody wants to see a bunch of 50, 60-year-old men Ghostbusting.
No, I can see a perfect premise. They get out of retirement. There's younger guys that are taking over the company. They get out of retirement because there's a real badass creature and they need help or something.
I'd like to see, and in some sort of dystopian future, far in the future, somebody finds the firehouse and a big ghost problem, and they strap on the things, and that's what I'd want to see. So
I'm sure
somebody break into the firehouse and take it over?
No, my thought is
Bill Murray has too much money. Is that what it is? He doesn't need another movie.
My thought is what happens is they're all dead, maybe. Or maybe one's
and they
alive.
Come back as ghosts.
That's what he was.
He
was throwing out that one a while ago.
That would be cool.
This is how you ghost bust. Wait! Don't point that at me.
Yeah.
I invented that.
Is the black guy still alive?
He should be.
I thought he died.
Winston, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought Winston died.
Of smoking?
I heard he was ill. Now I don't know if he passed away or not.
I hope not. I actually like him.
I heard he was ill. Yeah.
Because I like the first and second Ghostbusters. I love the cartoon series in the 80s.
I wasn't a fan of the cartoon series, but I did like the movies.
Well, thank you for watching Real Flix Reviews for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Robert Charney.
The old guy. They had the old guy.
Oh, also, I forgot one thing. Is the movie we're doing next week, I decided we're going to see the movie Forbidden Planet. One of my all-time favorite true sci-fi movies that also has an actor who later on in life turned to being a comedian.
Who's that?
You'll have to watch and find out.
Uh-oh. Am I getting drafted?
And
well, we'll see.
Like I
now
said,
we're going to add a curmudgeon, an old guy. I'm going to be an old guy, and I hate that movie.
and like I said, for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Robert Charney, see you next week.
This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.